who have played significant role in the life of the ACC. I will start to recognize the former Deputy Commissioner, Reverend Dr. Mola Ibuya Kamara, is in our midst. You are welcome. I'll also recognize the presence of Mrs. Nene Dabo. She was with us at the commission as the Director of Community Relations and Prevention and Litter Prevention. We also have in our midst our partners from Restitution Impact. They have supported us also in this celebration. And also we have ministers of government, the Minister of Works and Public Assets, Dr. Denis Sandi, welcome, you're recognized, and other heads of ministries, departments, and agencies represented here. So we are starting the program. We'll now invite Sheikh Abubakar Conte. He also happens to have been a board member of the ACC. So to lead us in the Muslim prayer. As we go along, I continue to recognize other dignitaries of the ACC.
Let us pray. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We thank you, Allah, for teaching us how to thank you and what to thank you for. We thank you, Lord, and glorify your holy name for granting us the honor to be here this morning to celebrate over the visible and invisible achievements
Unity Broadcasting
of our Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC. Lord, that has so far made sincere its establishment 25 years ago. We pray, Allah, for those of your servants who were instrumental in the existence of this noble institution of integrity that you have called to the world of eternity. We pray, Lord, that you grant them coolness in their graves. May their souls rest in perfect peace. We pray, Almighty Allah, for our fountain of honor, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio, for his visionary leadership demonstrated so far in the fight against corruption. Allah, you stated in your glorious Quran 2, verse 286 that you do not put a burden on someone except what he can carry. Lord, you have charged your servant, our president, with the responsibility of steering the ship of our nation. We pray that you guide, direct, and protect him and his team of ministers, parliamentarians, and other stakeholders in their effort to improve our political, social, and socio-economic achievement and nation. Strengthen, Lord, his faith in you, Lord, and enrich him with wisdom to succeed in his assignment. We thank you, Lord, and pray for the current, committed, resilient, and result-oriented administrative head of our commission and this team of dedicated and devoted men and women in the fight against this enemy of progress and development called corruption. We pray, Lord Almighty, for all those national and international agencies joining forces with us in this fight against this epidemic. In Quran 24 verses 15152, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Thamud, "So fear Allah and obey me, and do not obey the order of the transgressors who cause corruption in the land and mend not their ways. Cooperate with one another in all righteous deeds, and cooperate not in corruptive matters." Corruption, Allah kicked against it. We thank you, Lord. We want to commit this, our guardian, into your capable hands. Be the silent director of this, our celebration. Help us, Lord, to restore our name, Zion, where people of different ethnic backgrounds and settings and religious backgrounds cooperate peaceful coexistence. For you are the name al-Mawla, the name al-Nasir. Please join me in reciting the Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Thank you very much, Alaji, for that prayer. Let us kindly receive Fatu Kamara, our regional director for the Christian prayers. Fatu, please.
Let us pray. Father, it is to your glory we ascribe thanksgiving in this Silver Jubilee, which is the 25 years celebration of the Anti-Corruption Commission. You have been the guide the guard over this commission, in which so much has been said of great accolades towards the commission. I thank you, O Lord, for His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier General Julius Madabio, whose zest was and is that corruption is a battle in which we should win. We are thanking God for the Commissioner, Francis Ben Kefala, whose studiousness in the fight against graft has been tremendous and wonderful. Thanking you also, God, for the Deputy Commissioner and all staff in celebrating this day. It's a privilege to be a part of this celebration. And to this, O greatest Jehovah, we ascribe the thanksgiving, we ascribe the greatness. We give you this day for all that you have done for this commission and all that you will do. So much you have done in our workplaces, in the office, even in the fields. And that's we give you thanks. Thank you, O Jehovah King Jesus and the blessed Holy Spirit, for all that you've done and all that you will do. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you so much, Fatu. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, I want to take the singular honor to introduce to us our chairperson for this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, our chairperson is a household name. He's one man who is credited for having made communication between governance and government and the governed as simple as what we are seeing today. We are pleased to have him, and I want to assure all of us that our chairperson will make the communication here this morning a very, very perfect one. Our chairperson is no less a person. He's a partner to us in the fight against corruption, and he's closest to the leadership at the ACC. Ladies and gentlemen, join me, put your hands together as we welcome on stage our chairman for this National Anti-Corruption Summit, the Honorable Minister of Communication, Mr. Fiba. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blake. The People's Commissioner, the most outstanding commissioner in the history of the ACC, Francis Ben Kefala. Now clap for the man more. We person work for praise and also honorable ministers of governments, deputy ministers, members of parliament present, development partners, distinguished members of the diplomatic and consular corps, staff, board members, staff, and supporters of the Anti-Corruption Commission, school pupils, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to this momentous occasion as we celebrate the silver jubilee of the existence of one of the primary institutions in our country. It's become a cornerstone of the governance of our country and our resolve to get ourselves out of the doldrums of corruption and off every bad list on earth. And that institution has been the Anti-Corruption Commission. Over 25 years ago, our parliament passed the law that brought this institution into being, to set up an independent institution mandated to fight corruption across the length and breadth of Sierra Leone. In the journey of the Anti-Corruption Commission, the institution has evolved. There was a time when people called it a toothless bulldog. They say, they investigate, prosecute, force, pass force, and get. Then we instituted institution dictatorial powers. Okay. And 2018, it pleased His Excellency, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Woni Bio. Some people not even know say na middle name Nande. His middle name is Woni Bio. And the Mende speakers here will know what Woni means. But I'll leave that so Dr. Sandy will come and break that down. It pleased His Excellency to appoint a young man to take the fights forward, to lead the fight. President came to power on the signature campaign issue of his determination to fight corruption. And so he looked across the length and breadth of this country and thought, who should I bestow this sacred authority and weight of responsibility on to lead this fight? To not just lead it in the courtroom, but to lead it in the court of public opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency chose somebody that, as we have all come to see, has an extraordinary spine. He was able to capture the of our country. He was able to institute wide-ranging reforms. He make corruption become something where they talk about theory to bring them as practical. So possibly the thief self in office where imagine. Remember the high bab man. You do imagine say, this bra, he bring Blick along. He successful. And as Minister of Civic Education, we're doing a musical chair with the microphones. One of them must work. This man, as Minister of Civic Education, I'm particularly proud of the work he has done to make sure that we instill in the hearts and minds of our citizens, young and old, that patriotism is not just what you ask of your country, but patriotism is your commitment to integrity. It's your commitment to standing and fighting against the evils of corruption. Please join me again in giving a round of applause to Commissioner Francis Ben Kaifala. His record speaks for itself. On the eve of his appointments, the ACC on every global scorecard was about average 48, 40. Since he's been there, we have consistently scored A, 70 and above. Now school picking there, when I say, Commissioner, where is he candy? I pass no more A plus. So that is what leadership is about. But it's not just him. It's taken the political will. It's taken a fantastic staff. It's taken a supportive board. It's taken the rest of the community around all of us to move this fight. to where it is today. And so we all, as members of the community, deserve another round of applause for ourselves. Now, let's clap for ourselves and the board and the leadership of the ACC. But the next 25 years are going to be even more important. The reward for any good work is more work. The reward for hard work has to be even harder work. So today is not just to celebrate your success, Commissioner, and your team, but today is to reaffirm, on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, our absolute commitments to the fight against corruption, our resolve to leave no stone unturned, and our dedication to ensure that our country is on every single list at the top when it comes to winning, not just fighting, but winning the fight against corruption. With those opening remarks, ladies and gentlemen, the program is now fully called to order, and I will now invite the outstanding Deputy Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Mr. Augustine Fode Gobi, to deliver the official statement of purpose welcome address. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Good morning. Excellencies present, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, past commissioners, deputy of the ACC, members of parliament present, traditional leaders, government ministers and deputies, chairman and members of the advisory board on corruption, the People's Commissioner, my own boss, our river partners, restitution impact, civil society groups, the media, past and present staff of the commission, our panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I have this singular honor on behalf of the advisory board, commissioner, management and staff of the commission to heartily welcome you all to this auspicious twin celebration. Today is an historic day not only in the life of Anti-Corruption Commission, but for Sierra Leone and the world at large, as we commemorate the International Anti-Corruption Day 2025 and jointly celebrate the Commission's 25 years in existence since it established in the year 2000. Today also is an historic day, not only in the life of Anti-Corruption Commission, but for Sierra Leone and the world at large, as we commemorate the International Anti-Corruption Day. The world acknowledges the evils of corruption and urges governments and each people with the imperative call to action by continuing to raise awareness on the deliberating effects of corruption on economies and social amenities, and imploring them to renew their commitments and determination in dealing with this renowned essential problem. In 2003, the United Nations designated December 9 as International Anti-Corruption Day. The decision by the General Assembly was aimed at raising people's awareness of corruption and of the role of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, in combating and preventing this scourge. Remarkably, we are gathered here today to honor this day and register our unflinching resolve that corruption should have no business in our societies and body politic. More significantly too, this year, 2025, marks the silver jubilee of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Firstly, we are grateful to God Almighty for the pioneers of this great initiative and also for the protection and support He has provided to the institution thus far. On that note, I request that we all rise and observe moment of silence for all departed souls of staff who worked tirelessly at the ACC to curb corruption, and also the brains behind the establishment of the commission, but are no more. May their souls and all the souls of the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. May sit down. Remarkably also, the Commission continues to make significant progress in the fight against corruption in Sierra Leone and the beacon of excellence among its peers in Africa. The Commission is calling on all and sundry to push shoulders to the wheel in our collective endeavors to rid Sierra Leone of this menace. Once more, you are warmly welcome to this celebration. I hope our summit will lay bare the daunting task we jointly have at hand, particularly in ensuring that the Commission is properly positioned to control and combat corruption in a world underpinned by innovation, partnership, technology, and resilience. Long live the Anti-Corruption Commission, Sierra Leone. Long live the Republic of Sierra Leone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, let's clap for the Deputy Commissioner. I have a lot of respect for this Deputy Commissioner. You know, he is an old security official, and so he understands chain of command and has been a pillar, an incredible pillar of support to his boss, his younger brother, who is the commissioner. And I can tell you, for you to succeed in any position, when you have a deputy who is as strong a pillar as he is, who is dedicated as he has been, who doesn't allow his ego to get in the way of the work, the ACC's success under the tenure of Francis Benkaifala cannot be written without the incredible work that Mr. Augustine Fodegobi has done. Let's please give him another round of applause. Thank you, sir. We'll now transition to brief statements. We're going to ask that you kindly limit the statements to about 5 minutes each so that we can keep the program moving. First, I am honored to invite the Head of Investigations, Restitution Impact Sierra Leone, Madam Deborah Laprivotte, to give a statement. Let's welcome her, please. Thank you.
Good morning. As the minister said, my name is Deborah Laprivotte. And for those of you, most of you who don't know me, I am a retired FBI agent from Washington, D.C. And I spent the last 30 years investigating grand corruption, 20 years with the FBI, 8 more years in Sudan, South Sudan, and Congo, fighting corruption there. And I had the extreme pleasure and honor to be working with my colleagues at the Anti-Corruption Commission here in Sierra Leone. And I'm just extremely proud to be part of your 25-year jubilee. In the 20 or 30 years that I've been investigating corruption, what I found is that there was one constant. It's all about the money. And it's always been all about the money. When I go around the world and I try to trace money, that's my job, follow the money. I say drug dealers don't sell drugs because they love selling drugs. They sell drugs because they want the lifestyle that the money comes with. Well, when you're looking at grand corruption, more than $1 trillion of money leaves the continent of Africa every year through illicit finance, through embezzlement, corruption, bribery, kickbacks, and other type money laundering and other types of corruption. So you've heard the expression "seize the day." Well, when I worked for the FBI, my motto was always "carpe omnis," which is seize it all. There was nothing I wouldn't seize. I have seized a boat, a car, a bank account, an airplane, a yacht, a boa constrictor. It was worth $100,000. So there was really nothing I wouldn't seize. And people, when you seize $1 billion or steal $1 billion from your country, you buy things. You buy yachts, you buy aircraft, you buy villas, you buy big things. And there was a money trail. And you can find them and you can recover them. So I have to applaud the Anti-Corruption Commission, who has passed laws with your parliament to fight corruption, to not only give them the opportunity to go after the money in non-conviction based forfeiture, but they have seized in excess of 76 million Sierra Leone dollars. And that is just outstanding. They have a 90% conviction rate of the cases they have brought before the High Court. These are outstanding efforts. Having worked in South Sudan, which is currently considered the most corrupt country in the world, there is no rule of law. And in Sierra Leone, there is a rule of law. There is the integrity and the commitment to fighting corruption. I am going to keep my comments brief, but what I do want to add is that one of the other constants to fighting corruption is that the victims of corruption are the citizens of that country. If you go to some place like South Sudan, where I worked recently, 85% of women are illiterate. 75% of men are illiterate because no money ever makes it into education. 60% of the country suffers from food insecurity because no money goes into food, healthcare, infrastructure. That is not the situation in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has excellent laws. The money that is seized goes back into the community and goes to the victims of crimes. So, yeah, I mean, it's outstanding. So what I will repeat is that it is the responsibility of everyone to fight corruption, not just your ACC. Everyone out there has the ability to provide information to the ACC when you see something wrong. I talk to realtors all the time, and I'm like, who did you sell the house to? You know, who's driving a Ferrari? Who's driving, you know, and you know, how does he have that money? That doesn't seem right. So follow the money. Evil thrives when good men do nothing. So we ask everyone to keep your eyes open, be aware of how money is moving within your community. And if you see something that is unusual, please share it with the Anti-Corruption Commission. And on that note, I'll just say thank you for the opportunity to be here today and for the sincere pleasure of working with the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Yes, okay. And obviously, una you find waiting Deborah Toko because that clap day, we need to get more of that clap day. Deborah say He get plenty experience in intelligence, in the fight against corruption. He don't work plenty sign of the world. He say the level of commitment we see in the feds. Now, yeah, he say no see on the other side the way you don't go. Now, look clap for that. He says Salone, there's rule of law. And by the way, the Global Index on Rule of Law recently shows say where the rest of the world they go behind, Salone are only one of 8 countries in Africa. We make progress, we continue for go before. So that they show say we country to go before. Now, clap for that as well. You know, one want to for celebrate with country. Sometimes people like say, things hard na Salone. I say, agree. But me like forget conversations on objective index for measure the progress of the country. The most objective index, una the school picking at this. If you want to know if over the 10 years the country don't go before, the life expectancy rates na Salone in the past 10 years don't move from 52 years to 62 years. 10 years increase. So 10 years ago, if they born you that day, you expect for live only up to the age of 52. Today, because of the work way this government don't do, because of the feds who don't fight corruption, who don't recover boku money, who don't make that money, they go to education, they go into healthcare, they go into food security. If you born in a Salone now, you expect all things being equal for live until at least around the age of 62. I want to clap for that no. And a BB clap for that no. Because life expectancy, you know, the cheater. And not to data where they cheat. The life expectancy data, you know, the cheater. And based on the reality of waiting the record, almost people die whose age then die, almost people born whose age. So that combination there. So we get a lot for be thankful for. And we tell Deborah, thank you for in partnership and for then good thing that we talk about the work we they do in a Salone. Now we invite somebody from me former sector, civil society. Civil society then at the 5th estate. Very important for whole government accountable for push we forward. And one of the leading civil society leaders in this country, now my brother Alfonso Ugbani, and the executive secretary for Human Rights Defenders. Let's please welcome him with a round of applause. Alfonso.
Good morning to everybody. Mr. Chair, I think I want to stand on existing protocol. Today, we are gathered here to celebrate the Silver Jubilee of ACC and also to join the global community in commemorating the International Anti-Corruption Day. As human rights defenders, we look at corruption as a human rights issue. And any person or institution that fights against corruption is considered to be a human rights defender. And let me just present a suggested definition for either as an individual or institution. Any person who individually or in association with others acts to seek, to act, to promote, protect, or strive for the protection and realization of human rights and fundamental freedoms at the local, national, regional, and international level on a full-time or part-time basis, on a paid or voluntary basis, and can act parts of their profession or occupation is a defender. At the institutional level, any organization, association, or institution that acts or seek to act to promote, protect, or strive for the protection and realization of human rights and fundamental freedoms
at the local, national, regional, and international level in accordance with its mission or mandate. This place shows squarely that the work of the Human Rights Commission, either as an institution or the individuals working in the commission, they are human rights defenders. And that is why we are well placed to give our unflinching support to the work of the Anti-Commission of Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, tackling corruption through human rights lens means recognizing that corrupt practices, such as embezzlement and mismanagement of public funds, bribery in health and education services, and illicit proceeds from mining directly undermine the enjoyment of civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. This reaffirms the fact that fighting corruption is not a political issue, but it is a human rights issue. By anchoring anti-corruption efforts in the country's constitutional guarantees and international human rights commitments, such as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and our local human rights context that we have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the nation can ensure that transparency, accountability, and participation become tools for protecting the dignity and equality of all citizens. The network commends the ACC human rights-based approach to empowering people to know and claim their rights by increasing the ability and accountability of individuals and institutions responsible for protecting, respecting, and fulfilling rights through sustained training and community sensitization. As the Commission celebrates 25 years of accomplishments and the ongoing realization of its mandates, we urge the ACC not to ignore the challenges faced over these years, but to reflect on them to build an institutionalized human rights-based approach or response to the fight against corruption in the country. We therefore call on the ACC to improve on 1, transparency and accountability. And this we are emphasizing on open governance structures, empower rights holders to demand accountability, and consider a review or an amendment to the asset declaration so that asset declaration of all public officials should be made public. Communities will only contribute, will only act, will only give information if they know what public officials have declared in their asset declaration. That will help the Anti-Corruption Commission to do their job perfectly. 2, the issue of participation. We encourage the Commission that marginalized groups are included in decision-making, reducing space where corrupt practices thrive. Corrupt practices thrive where marginalized groups are excluded in decision-making. 3, non-discrimination. Anti-corruption measures targeted entrenched inequalities that corruption often exploits. 4, the rule of law. Strengthening institutions to ensure remedies for rights violation caused by corrupt acts, focusing mainly on asset recovery. We appreciate the efforts being made by the current commission that we should not be focusing on sending people to prison for embezzling, let's say 1 billion leos, and you send that person for 5 years. The 1 billion leos is with their families, and we send that person to prison for 5 years. The government is also spending money for his or her sustenance in the prison. That does not make sense. Let's concentrate on retrieving the resources that they have stolen. That will help the country grow. And to that end, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this process.
Civil society man name, we then they talk We talk with passion and conviction and dedication. And Mr. Agbani don't taper the business. And a man who me being small, who start civil society business, who the CFN, I brother them in the already, then they show we how for worker. So now brother I get beaucoup respect for. Even when we disagree, which we do sometimes, because now are the government, but we do so with respect. And I do so with admiration for the role they play for advance with democracy. Again, a round of applause one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, as you will notice, unfortunately, His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio, is not with us to deliver today's keynote speech. As you're all aware, there are some pressing issues happening in the sub-region. And in addition to his sacred and important duty of being the commander-in-chief of this republic, he also has to play the role of being the chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States. And those of you who follow the news will see that his hands are a little full these days. He's got quite a few diplomatic issues to attend to. As Sierra Leoneans, we are proud of his global leadership. And so because of these pressing issues, he has expressed his regrets that he could not be here with us today. And so our next speaker, who was only supposed to make a statement, is now going to deliver a double barrel. He will deliver a statement and he will also speak on behalf of His Excellency as the keynote speaker. This man does not need an introduction, not least to this crowd, but I should tell you that I have known him since we were both teenagers. We were fierce rivals in school. I attended the better school, of course, the Albert Academy. He attended the Sierra Leone Grammar School. We competed at all the national quiz and debate competitions. I'll let you guess who was winning when we locked arms with each other. But then we became, initially as well in the days of the school bosses and all of that, we even had rivalries around our romantic interest when we were kids. Who was more attractive to our beautiful and outstanding colleagues at the Annie Walsh or at St. Joseph Convent? We come ways. And then we became best of friends when we got to Furabe College. We're both comrades of the Almighty or Radicals Club. We have been on this journey of life. I am proud to call him my best man. And I shall say I am his best man. At every one of his weddings, I have been the best man. We have done the last and final one, I can assure you. But I can tell you his passion for Sierra Leone, his dedication to his work, his exceptional mind, he's brilliant, and he's rigorous. He does his homework. He's one of the finest public servants in our country. He has the awards to show for it. I think he should be recognized as the most awarded Sierra Leonean today, probably ever as well. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our country's outstanding anti-corruption commissioner, Francis Ben Kaifala.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Ba, for that amazing introduction. And we are very honored to have you serve as chair of this occasion. Like you rightly said, we've come a long way, and I'm happy that we are here. And you are a minister, and I am commissioner of the ACC, and we both are serving the nation. So we forget about those days when we used to argue over what was happening at the Annie Wash and St. Joseph's Convent or Methodist Girls High School. But Mr. Chairman, my brother, the Deputy Commissioner, ministers of government here present, deputy ministers, my godfather and great supporter and friend, Dr. Prince Alex Harding, heads of departments of agency here present, members of parliament, representatives of the diplomatic and consular corps, representatives of civil society organizations, our friends in the media, our dear brother, the former deputy commissioner, who is here with us, Mr. Buya there, the great team at the ACC here in very colorful blue dresses and some in hats and neckties, and our pupils who are representing the various schools from across the country where we have integrity clubs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. Good. Are we still in the morning? Good morning to you all. Good. Today is a very significant day. An important one for all of us. As we now go back in time to reflect on the journey that has been for the institution that is called the Anti-Corruption Commission. When the war ended, one of the culprits of the war, or one of the things that were identified as being responsible for such carnage, such destruction, taking the country back 50 years, was corruption. And it was not just corruption, it was the fact that it was recognized that there was no established system or institution to deal with it. So the processes were ad hoc. That means we relied on, as the case may be. Maybe the president is not happy with a particular permanent secretary or minister, then he's investigated. But there was no system. And this entrenched the belief that you can get away with it. So to address the impunity, but more particularly to set up systems that can deal with it, the Anti-Corruption Commission was formed in the year 2000 with the sole purpose of having monopoly, but working with others to fight corruption in Sierra Leone. 25 years ago, I was in high school. I was at the grammar school. Mr. Minister here was also at the Albert Academy. I was in SS2. And I remember hearing first about the Anti-Corruption Commission when they came to the school to set up the Integrity Club, which I joined. I do not recall whether I fully understood at that time what really this all was about, but the word integrity made a lot of sense to me, and I wanted to be part of what can create pupils who could go on to help change the story of Sierra Leone. Because as I knew then, And as it was recognized by that time, corruption was ravaging the country. And that is how my own personal journey with the Anti-Corruption Commission started. From then on, the commission has been a pillar in the history of Sierra Leone, trying to take on one of the monsters that has held on to the destinies and future of this country. Enormous effort has been put in. Previous commissioners, 5 of them before me, played their part, starting with Val Collier, who I recognize here today, who did his best for some 5 years. Then the Professor Joko Smart, who also came in, played his own part. Then Abdul Tijan Cole, who also came in, played his own part. And then Joseph Fitzgerald Kamara also came in and played his own part of leadership. And then Adi Macaulay stepped in his shoes when Joseph Kamara moved on some 5 to 6 years later. And then, as fate would have it, my journey, which started with the Anti-Corruption Commission 25 years earlier, some 20 years earlier or 18 years earlier, was again reunited when President Brigadier retired Dr. Julius Maada Bio on the 18th of June appointed me to come in and lead the fight against corruption. Upon coming in, I met this amazing team. It will interest you to know that some of them had been there since 2000 when it all started. And a few of them are still with us at the commission. Are they here? The original people, we are going to award you a few days from here. Please stand up, let them see you. Let us give them a round of applause. Yes. They started working with the team at the ACC, and over the years, there has been a steady build up. A lot of amazing people have joined the core of workers at the commission. And when I have been there, working with my brother, the deputy commissioner, the first deputy commissioner I worked with, who also needs to be recognized, is Mr. Shirley Davis. Mr. Shirley Davis is in the US. I'm sure if you were here, he would have joined us today. But all of them, commissioners and deputy commissioners, directors, managers, and staff, play their role. It is not an easy fight. It is not everything you see in the open. In fact, more fights happen in the back end than what you see in the open. And these people, ladies and gentlemen, have committed themselves over these years. Some have passed away. We have already had a moment of silence in their honor. Some are still with us. Many have joined, and the march continues today. Let us give all of us a huge round of applause. We are thankful to God that we are here. We are thankful to the government that it left this institution to do its job and supported its efforts. We are grateful to every Sierra Leonean who over the years has helped us in this challenge. Human greed is a serious problem. Humans, by our very evolution, have learned to accumulate things for ourselves, accumulate things for our families, accumulate things that we believe protect us and our interest, to preserve us against other people. So our individualism is a powerful animal instinct in us. We want to have a lot more. Because in those days, when it all started, several hundred years ago, probably a couple of thousands, we had to do that to protect ourselves, to make sure that we have enough when it was dangerous to go out. But times have changed. States developed. Individualism started to be replaced by collectivism, where the collective is now more important than the individual. That is why states were developed. For your protection, you did not have to protect your family. The police were set up and paid by the state to do that. The army was raised to do that. You did not have to educate your children. Schools were set up. Hospitals were developed. You don't have to create your own pathway to go and find your living and come back. Roads were built, etc., etc. And many countries of the world understood this early. And by that understanding, they have been able to change their story. They left what was individual to the public domain and served as good citizens mostly to make sure that the dynamism around them changed. So instead of stealing everything, primitively accumulating it for yourself in your bank accounts, they prefer to work hard, pay taxes, and then the government can use those resources to pay the police, to pay the army, to pay the teachers, to build hospitals, to build roads, to build systems of governance. And those countries change over the years. We, unfortunately, have struggled with this understanding that the collective is more important than the individual. So we still believe we should primitively accumulate. We should believe that the individual is more important than the collective. And that is why this institution was formed, the ACC, to help in challenging this understanding, to hold people accountable, so that when you hold a position of trust and authority, you do not steal everything. Because if you steal everything, how do we build roads? How do we build hospitals? How do we pay our teachers? How do we pay our doctors? How do we pay those who administer the state? But most importantly, how do we build the skyscrapers, the bridges, the infrastructure that many in other parts of the world are showing to the rest of this world today as the sign of their civilization? "25 years of reminding ourselves of this. 25 years of an institution committed to reminding us of this. 25 years of prosecuting the corrupt." I remember the first anti-corruption case that I became aware of was the case against Justice Tajuddin, a judge who was accused of collecting a bribe and abusing his office and position. I remember that conviction. I was in high school or probably in university. Walking down that road, it appears we should not be reminding ourselves of this. We should know. When you hold a position of trust in government, You have to understand that you have a sacred duty and a responsibility to make the lives of people around you better. Yes, already when you occupy these positions, a lot of good happened to you. Sometimes I speak with my wife and say, you know, we underestimate what comes with holding a position of power. You wake up in the morning, for example, in my home, there are police officers guarding the home, which the state pays, and I don't have to pay. And because of that responsibility, they do a lot of things around me which I don't pay for. That would have been something that I was going to use my own money to pay. And it was not going to be small money. Drivers, they pay for internet most of the time. Our salaries that we get, they even embed in those salaries things like medical allowance. They embed in those salaries housing allowance. We forget this thing because it becomes routine. And we think that still we must steal. Still, we must deprive the state of what it has to benefit. And we travel. I just came back from the US 2 days ago. We travel. We see the good in other countries. We see the change in other countries. We praise them, we applaud them. But trust me, we could do the same here very easily if only we suppress our primitive animal instinct and be good to one another. Yesterday, we had a service, an interfaith Christian and Muslim prayer session for the country. And for the past 8 years, when I have been commissioner, we have done this traditionally. Why do we do it? Because statistically, Sierra Leone is a country that is almost 100% religious. And when I say religious, we profess one belief in one God. And it does not matter whether you are a Muslim or Christian, we are talking about the same God. It does not matter your Christian denomination. I am Roman Catholic. You can be Protestant, but we are all talking about the same God. The same God that the Muslims are talking about. We are all from the Judaism tradition. And we believe in one God, which we can call different names. But then that God, which 100% of this country professes to believe in, is against you suppressing your fellow man for your own interest and good. It's against corruption. Then why would we have a 99.9% religious country? Yet we struggle with one of the first things that those religions say we must be against. 25 years of reminding ourselves of this. I have always said, and I maintain, the Anti-Corruption Commission, which we have made a permanent fixture in Sierra Leone, is supposed to be a transitional institution. It should not be a permanent institution. It should not be like the police or army. It was there after the war to remind us to change our ways so that the country can prosper. And down the line, it was supposed to fade away because we will have been so sufficiently educated in our understanding of the issues of corruption. And the normal state institutions, we are now so responsible that they can take up their responsibility. Corruption is a crime, a simple crime that the police should handle. But we have made the commission a permanent fixture. because of one problem: mindset. Mindset. How we think. Are we going to change? I have come and played my part, and I am still here. 8 years as commissioner. I will be leaving soon. And God knows, we, working with my team, have put in our efforts. But the real change that this country needs comes from us individually, in our hearts. And I have said, one real problem we have is because as a people, either we have not accepted and embraced the need to change fully, or because as leaders, we have not accepted to play our roles as leaders to make sure that things change. Yes, progress has been made. We have made a lot of progress since 2025. The indexes are showing it. Mr. Minister has already alluded to those. I don't have to go over them. But what pace are we going? Could we do more? Are we committed to do more? Change is possible. But I have said one thing. Sitting or being in this position for these years, the pace at which we are going is too slow. Life expectancy is 62 years. As the minister has said, 62 years to live is a blink. How much are we going to change if we continue to go at this pace? We have to be a little more drastic ourselves. And the commission needs the support of everybody to continue to do this. You who come to beg for your uncles who steal, your aunties who are doing the wrong things, when they arrest them, you come and say, hey, we are begging for him. You go on social media and write essays. Some people will never write more than one sentence on Facebook. The day you arrest somebody who is connected to them, they will write paragraphs every morning they wake up. And these are the people who call themselves good. And I've always said, and I maintain, 5 things make a person good when it comes to corruption. 1 is the opportunity. Some people who spend all the time saying they are good, they have never had the opportunity to be corrupt in the sense that we speak. They have never been minister. They've never been director. They've never held any position that you can say this person is good in the corrupt sense. So they tell themselves that they are good. But 2, if you have the opportunity now, the means. If the means is not there for you to commit the offense, you can't tell yourself that you are good. If there are proper systems that deter you from stealing the money when you think your wife needs it, and therefore you do not take it, you did not take it because you are good. You did not take it because the means is not there. 3, monopoly. Decision making. If there are other people who can help you steal and they cannot help you steal, and you alone cannot steal it, you are not good. If the permanent secretary does not approve for a minister to steal, the minister cannot steal. It will be very difficult. So if you don't have monopoly, you are not good. The most important one, pressure. Pressure. You are now sitting, you have the means, you have the opportunity, you have the monopoly, and then pressure comes. Your wife wakes up in the morning and says, you are the most useless man on earth. You have not built a house, and everybody else is building a house. Your children are going to school, and they are driving them every day for school fees. They come to you and say, Daddy, all other people are going to school. I am not going to school. You took your children and put them at the school where the fees is $5,000 a month and your salary is $2,000. If you do not have that position, if you are not in these things I have told you, you are not good. You're only convincing yourself that you are. But if when you hold these positions, you have the opportunity, firstly, to steal, to be corrupt, and you resist it. You have the means to do it, and you resist it. You have the pressure on you to do it, and you tell yourself, it is not my money, it is state money. And you don't do it. Even when your wife reminds you every day how useless you are, you tell her that God will provide. You rather go and ask a friend to borrow you. And you wait for the time when your end of service benefit comes and you take care of things. Then you are good. And in Sierra Leone, there are a lot of people who think they are good. They are not good at all. And today I am reminding you of this. That goodness comes from being able to discipline yourself to resist when you have the opportunity, you have the means, you have the monopoly, and then you can resist the pressure. 25 years down the line, we have been saying these things. 25 years down the line, we have been arresting people. 25 years down the line, we have been prosecuting people. 25 years down the line, we have been investigating. The data and statistics are there. The commission has done its job. It is now for us as a people to change and to make the ACC the transitional institution that it was supposed to be. On that note, I thank all of you for all the support we've had. Let us use this time to reflect on what I have said, but on many other things that we have said before. Let us use this time to launch ourselves very firmly into the years that come. We've had a lot of successes. Definitely Sierra Leone is not where it was before. A lot has changed over the years, but we can do more. And we can do so with a lot more speed and accuracy. I thank you very much for your audience.
That clap, they will not be no say no do. Not so soya binde o. Asoya binde. This corn skin asoya binde. Not so soya binde o. Yeah, we don't change here. Anti-Corruption Commission asoya binde. Not so soya binde o. Thank you, Commissioner Francis Ben Kaifala. You said something that captured my attention. Say, I will soon be leaving. Mr. Commissioner, we know, those who read the scriptures soon can be 50 years. In scriptural terms, the Lord is coming soon. The Lord has been coming soon before I was born. The Lord is still coming soon. But kidding aside, I think nobody will begrudge the commissioner his aspirations. And we thank you on behalf of His Excellency the President, my capacity as the official spokesperson of the government of Sierra Leone. I want to place on record on behalf of the government and the people of Sierra Leone, our sincerest appreciation and commendation for your outstanding public service in your role as the Anti-Corruption Commissioner. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring the curtain down to this statement component of the opening ceremony. We will transition to a panel discussion that will be masterfully moderated by my colleague, the Minister for Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Aissata Mahoy. Hello, clap for him. There. And one of the activist minister there in Self-Combustible Society. She's doing a fantastic job in the sector. And it will bring Cam at the stage, the rest of the panelists there. So while we do the transition, I'm going to ask us all to stand up and we're going to sing the beautiful words of the Sierra Leone National Pledge. In the absence of His Excellency, we will do the pledge. Once we all pledge our love and loyalty to Sierra Leone, those of us on the high table who will not be on the panel will transition. I will hand the microphone over to my colleague, the minister. She will invite the panel. We'll all stay seated and we'll listen to the panel before we close. One day we don't go public school. One day we go private school and also sing the national pledge. Okay, we can see now. Okay, ready? School picking on ready? All right. I pledge my love and loyalty to my country, Sierra Leone. I vow to serve her faithfully at all times. I promise to defend her, honor her good name, always work for her unity, peace, freedom, and prosperity, and put her interest above all else. So help me God. So help me God. Thank you very much. Wonderful job. Thank you very much. And now over to you, Madam Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Master of the show. Let's be seated, please. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Wait here to una vex for me. Oh, I don't have for say morning. Let me say afternoon. And not afternoon yet. Okay. Good morning. It is both an honor and a responsibility to serve as a moderator of this pivotal conversation, one that marks not only the global observation of International Anti-Corruption Day, but also the 25th anniversary of the Sierra Leone's Anti-Corruption Commission. I extend warm congratulations to the ACC for its enduring commitment to integrity, accountability, and national transformation. I want to take this opportunity to thank the entire staff and management and the leadership of the Anti-Corruption Commission for the tremendous job in which they have been doing throughout the years. All those commissioners, past and present, I want to say we have upheld that institution, and institutions, when they work, is what makes the state develop. Thank you. Today's theme, the future of anti-corruption, innovation, partnership, and building resilient systems, invites us to look beyond punishment and enforcement. It challenges us to reimagine governance as a collective endeavor where transparency is not just a policy, but a culture, and where resilience is built not in isolation, but through inclusive partnership. Corruption is not merely a legal infraction. It is a betrayal of public trust. It erodes institutions, deepens inequality, and disproportionately harms the most vulnerable, especially women, children, and marginalized communities. As Minister for Gender and Children's Affairs, I see firsthand how corruption in service delivery, procurement, and justice systems can perpetuate cycles of exploitation and abuse. So don't be surprised if I bring in a lot of gender issues or women's issues or children's issues into this discussion. As the moderator, my role is very simple. My role is to guide the panel with clarity, fairness, and purpose. We'll explore 3 key areas: innovative approaches to anti-corruption from digital tools to behavioral insights, strategic partnerships across government, civil society, media, and youth networks, and resilient systems that withstand political transitions, economic shocks, and social pressure. But we must also ask, how do we ensure anti-corruption efforts are gender responsive and inclusive? What does accountability look like in practice, not just in policy documents? And how do we move from reactive enforcement to proactive prevention? Let this panel be more than a ceremonial gathering. Let it be a space for bold ideas, honest reflection, and shared commitments. The future of anti-corruption, it depends not only in constitutions, but on people, on our collective courage to speak truth, uphold justice, and protect the public good. Now, I'm using this singular honor to invite our distinguished panelists to share their insights, challenges, assumptions, and offer pathways forward. And I invite all of you in this room and beyond to listen deeply, engage constructively, and leave here with renewed resolve. With that, I welcome our speakers, panelists, and look forward for rich and transformative discussions. And now, as I have the honor to invite our panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Honorable Ibrahim Benkabo, JPGOOR. So, and as you take in your seats, let me just briefly give a brief bio of whom this man is. Ibrahim Benkabo attended the St. Andrews Secondary School in Bo, Jala University from 1965 to 1969, and also the John Newhouse School of Journalism, Syracuse University in New York in 1984. His professional experience: he was a school teacher at St. Andrews Secondary School. He became a vice principal at the same school, and then principal at the Sri Lanka Secondary School, Port Loko. As a journalist and media practitioner, he was the proprietor for the New Citizen newspaper, the deputy editor for the Tablet newspaper, editor for New Citizen newspaper, the chairman African Journalism Delegation to China. He became president of the Association of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists and Commissioner Independent Media Commission in the year 2000. As a public servant, he was the Director General for the National Diamond Mining Company, NDMC, and Member of Parliament, Secretary General of Backbenchers Association. He became an advisor to the President of State House in 2012 and a Member of Parliament again, and became Chairman NACSA and NGO Committee, Chairman Foreign Affairs Committee, Member of Parliament, Delegation of the European Union, Deputy Leader of Opposition in Parliament as well, and he held other appointments. So I want to take this opportunity, sir, to welcome you to the panel, and we look forward for your interactive and educative insights. Dr. Molai Buya Kamara, Reverend. Are you here? Let's give him a round of applause. Reverend Dr. Abuya Molai Kamara served as a Deputy Commissioner at the Anti-Corruption Commission in the year 2008 to 2013. He spent over 30 years of experience as a finance and project specialist working in international organizations. He worked for DFID, a Global Fund, and various institutions within the public sector. He was a former lecturer, Institute of Public Administration and Management, IPAM, University of Sierra Leone. His academic qualifications, he has a BSc in Economics at Frobe College, an MBA in Finance, Oxford Brookes University, United Kingdom, and Doctor of Divinity, United States. Christian ministry and community service was part of his active service that he is also still rendering as a community person today. He's married and has 3 children. Welcome to the panel, and we look forward to having you here. Another panelist is, excuse me, Mrs. Nene Dabo, who is a retired civil servant. Mrs. Nene Dabo, welcome to the stage. She works at the Office of the President. She was also Ministry of Labor and Social Security and works for the Technical Works and Technical Maintenance Committee, and also worked at the Anti-Corruption Commission, and also a member of the Public Procurement Reform Capacity Building Project. We want to say welcome to this panel, Mrs. Dabo, as she brings many years of professional experience. She formed very important networks with international partners and obtained the relevant skills to facilitate relationships. Mrs. Dabo was Director of Systems and Processes Review Department of the Anti-Corruption Commission. As you're going to join us, we are going to learn from you, from those years of experience, how you have been navigating as a woman within that particular sector and others which you have been. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you members of the panel. There were supposed to be 4, but one fell ill this morning. We're not going to have that particular person here, and we wish him speedy recovery. So now, in these engaging moments, we would like the panel to share with us what have been their experience in working with the Anti-Corruption Commission. Madam, I'll start with you. They say ladies first, and I'm giving her the crown. Madam Dabo, with all due respect and with the professionalism that you have carried yourself through all these years, can you briefly use 5 minutes of your time on this particular panel to explain to us how you manage, how you navigated the things, making strides in the commission over the years? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this honor. And thank you for making me a partner as an outsider now. As you may know, we are the inceptionists of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Before then, I was, like you said, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works. And when this commission was formed, we were the very first people. And like you said, I was the sole woman against 2 gentlemen to form this commission. How did we navigate? I came with my expertise as a public sector worker, having been a permanent secretary, and just giving a letter to set up a commission, no accommodation, no systems, no salary structure, nothing. It was just a letter. So to navigate, you have to use the expertise to know where to go to get accommodation, to put systems in place, to do the necessary recruitment, and then to work on our salaries. Because as you know, with corruption, I mean, it's a dangerous road to walk. You cannot go with your public sector salary in the commission. So what I did, then we had a British Accountant General. I contacted him, Joe Keeley, then by name, and I said, this is what we have in hand, and this is what we are supposed to do in a society immediately after the war, and the expectations are so much A, B, C, D. Definitely, we cannot go with the public sector salary because there are a lot of sacrifices you have to make. You will lose friends, you will lose family members, you will be isolated. So you have to concentrate on the job and you have to look after your family. So we negotiated the salary structure together with the Attorney General self. And that is where today we have a different salary structure than the public sector. You cannot fight corruption on an hungry stomach. There has to be realities. So put that reality in first. Then we went on to the of recruiting. Hallelujah. We went on to the drive of recruiting the best people we can. I mean the best people. We have retired people. In fact, one of them was like a teacher when I was in secondary school. I recruited her because we wanted the best minds, the best brain, and the most committed people. Then setting up the commission, we had issues to tackle with. Now we had to put systems in place. We had to look at the structures. We have to look at partners. We had DFID supporting us. DFID support and government support was not enough for the magnitude of the work that was before us. So clearly, we sought out partners. And seeking out partners, you have to sell your integrity. What do you stand for? What is your vision? Where do you want the commission to go to? And we are convinced to get partners like World Bank, Irish Aid, the German GTZ, the European Union. These were all partners for us to forge the work ahead. And the Integrity Clubs Commissioner spoke about, we said, if we are going to have a holistic approach to the issue of corruption, we need to bring them on board young, because we have to disabuse the minds of the people coming, who we say they are our future leaders, but I always say they are leaders in waiting. You imbibe in them the correct mindset, the correct attitude, then honestly, you are on your way to making success in terms of fighting corruption. Maybe I may pause here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that particular insight. You know, they fight corruption in an empty stomach. An empty bag cannot tin up, not so. Empty bag not it tin up. You get for full before it tin up, then you go able to see within the inside. Oh, thank you so much. Now coming to you, Honorable Ibrahim Ben Kabo, with your knowledge, you have been in the space for many, many, many years. And I would like to know, the people here would like to know, what has been your reflections on setting up the institution of the anti-corruption 25 years ago in Sierra Leone, and how you this particular institution has helped shape the development of this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Well, I had an advantage which many other people did not have. I was not only a close friend to Ahmad Tijan Kaba himself, but always as a journalist. He granted me more interviews than any journalist in this country. So I always knew his thinking. And when he spoke about the quadruplets, he was actually talking about 4 institutions he wanted to create. He wanted to create an NRA that was an inclusive one that would bring customs and income tax together. He also wanted to create a NACID for the people of this country. He also wanted to create a National Commission for Privatization to save the dying commissions, parastatals. And he also wanted to create an anti-corruption commission. Now, let me see one thing. When the chairman mentioned the case of Tajuddin, the judge who was sent to Pademba Road, I just want to dilate a little bit here. Actually, it was a matter that started with Harry Wheel, who was the Minister of Agriculture. That was the first test by Tijan Kaba to find out whether he could fight corruption or not. Harry Wheel was the Minister of Agriculture. He wanted to commence his program immediately after the war. He was in a hurry. He went to Ghana, bought the seed rice, made sure that the seed rice came to this country. And the contractor at the time was Bokari Kake. But all of them were charged to court in the end, because according to the Attorney General's office, they did not go through procedure, due process. But again, the Accountant General testified in court. There was no indication that money was stolen. The people at finance, all of them, including the minister himself, everybody testified. And they all agreed that no money was stolen. But still, the vessel that brought the rice to Sierra Leone was not insured. Because at the time, Sierra Leone was blacklisted because of the war. So Harry Will thought that he could bring the rice, take the risk and bring the rice. And he brought the rice. The rice was distributed, and historically, I can remember my cousin's vehicles, Marican, distributed the rice all over the country, except 2 areas where the war had not completely ended. But of course, the rice was distributed. But yet the Attorney General's office insisted that due process was not followed. And Bokari Kake and Harry Will were charged to court. The judge then, Tajuddin, presided over this matter. All I can say is that they were not found guilty. And they were not found guilty. And the following day, I was in my office when I heard that the judge himself had been arrested. But again, I spoke to Kaba himself later on. And he said one of the things that propelled him to set up an independent institution to fight corruption was the Tajuddin case, because he was given a bad name. Some people in the community in Freetown said that he had locked up a judge. Some of his friends who went to school with him at St. Edward's said he had locked up a colleague, etc., etc. But again, the Anti-Corruption Commission was set up. But once it was set up, he was confronted by 2 main problems. Who was going to prosecute the people suspected of committing corruption? Right? Our donors insisted that we should have an independent body, not the Attorney General's office. But the Attorney General's office insisted that they should prosecute the people because it was a government case. And in government cases, the Attorney General was the lawyer. And this matter was debated over a period. But we came to the conclusion, all of us who had a say in this, that let us allow the Anti-Corruption Commission to prosecute their own cases. But again, it came up again when Ernest Koroma came to power. I was in cabinet at the time. The Anti-Corruption Act was being looked into again a second time in cabinet. And then the issue of prosecutorial status came up again. And some people, 8 of the cabinet ministers, insisted that this function should be transferred to the office of the Attorney General. Again, it was a long debate, except that the president used his veto powers and insisted that the Anti-Corruption Commission must go about doing its business. And this is why today we still have this prosecution in the hands of the Anti-Corruption Commission. And that was the right thing to do. All of us agreed. But then again, one other issue that came up was punishment itself. The public held the view that merely fining an individual who had consumed or embezzled state funds was not enough. They wanted ministers to be locked up. They wanted ministers to be imprisoned. They wanted permanent secretary to be imprisoned. But of course, the act is very, very clear. There is an alternative. If you do not jail the man, we give an alternative. But again, it became a debate in this country. So because the debate was on and on and on, this is why I'm satisfied that Ben Kelfola has come up with a new idea. He has made sure that everybody is satisfied. You take government money, you pay it back, and you make sure that you do not enjoy it. That's very, very important. But at the same time, let us look at some other things that occurred during the period of President Kaba. President Kaba was very clear at one time on a Saturday, talking about the transition status of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Of the quadruplets, the 4 institutions created by President Kaba, 2 of them were not expected to be of a permanent status. One of them was the Anti-Corruption Commission. It was supposed to operate over a period, make sure that the message of corruption was sent to the public, make sure that state institutions were strengthened to make sure that corruption does not permeate those institutions. That was one area. Then the other one, the NCP, the National Commission for Privatization. Kaba also held the view that it should not be a permanent feature. Privatize institutions and then forget about it. But then again, I'm emphasizing this point because in the end, when Kavala himself has said so, we are not going to continue to hold on and on and on and on and on fighting corruption through the Anti-Corruption Commission. We must be able to accept the fight against corruption as a national challenge. All of us must make sure that it is part of our program. It is our business to make sure that we do not find ourselves in a corrupt situation. Now, we mentioned the other countries. What about the agents themselves? Those people who support and work for the Anti-Corruption Commission. Yom Keller and myself were in New York, and we took part in a panel discussion like this one about corruption in West Africa. And one of the panelists was the one-time chairman of the Anti-Graft Commission in Nigeria. His life had been threatened. The millionaires wanted to get rid of him. He had to flee to go to New York. He was in exile, and the state did not protect him. So this is why in my presentation I will insist that whoever was for the Anti-Corruption Commission must have stepped on the toes of people who are not happy. And therefore, we must have a system within now, when they're in office, or post-work, post-tenure, to make sure that they are protected. We must have a legislation that protects them. I was in Nigeria when I raised this issue about this fellow who was now in exile in the United States. You know what a friend of mine told me? We all were at Syracuse together. He said, if you challenge these ministers here, whose sons are brigadiers and generals, they will kill you. And then you forget about your fight against corruption. That was his reaction to me. But that should not be the attitude. What we are saying here is that we have introduced a system to make sure that we address the issue of corruption. But of course, we also have accepted that it cannot be a permanent feature. We must be able to address the issue ourselves. Now we have an emerging group of corrupt practices in our society.
Honorable, I think we'll come back to that when you have your next few minutes of.
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir. But so, target knowledge, not also.
So thank you very much. Thank you.
Insight, and we would like you to share more insights when I come back to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now coming to you, Reverend Molaibuya Kamara. You served in the capacity in the Anti-Corruption Commission, and you also being a reverend. We have seen what which the Anti-Corruption Commission have put recently, ensuring that awareness raising within religious places of worship will help in terms of the reduction of corruption. But notwithstanding that, we also want to see that what are your take when it comes to issues of asset declaration for especially public officials? I just want to let all know, say maybe declare assets to me form the commission. Yes, sir. What is your take on this, and what have been your reflections so far on government in, government out in the fight against corruption?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I also want to thank the Commissioner and the rest of the team for the privilege of serving in this panel. And it's been 11, 12 years I left the Commission, and I think I must applaud the current Commissioner, who is a brother, Ben Kefala, for inviting me again. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. Well, a lot of change, a lot has gone on. When the Commission was first formed, I just came back from England from studying. That was around 2000. And but before that, I had worked at the post office when I left university, and then previously. So, and the post office is a kind of public institution. It graduated from like a public service or the civil service. So I worked there briefly, and I knew what the culture was. And of course, when I came back, I had the privilege of working in other international organizations like the Global Fund and for DFID. And I was also able to measure and to look at the differences in culture and work ethics, working in the civil service or the public sector or working for this organization. So when I joined the commission in 2008, for me, I was trying to find the middle ground because the Anti-Corruption Commission is a public institution and it's a derivative, if you like, of the civil service in some ways. And so I was trying to find my ground. And I realized that as a commission, we worked with mostly public servants, public service. And I saw the difference in culture in working for international organizations like DFID, and I worked for NCIS and I worked for Global Fund. There was totally different in culture, and that was a little bit of a shock for me. And but we had the responsibility, and I was one of those who were very excited that after the war, at last, government was going to address the issue of corruption, because right from the days when we were at university at Rabi College, we never had. The question of electricity has been a perennial issue right from those days. Water has been an issue. So when some of us left and we came back down to town, started working, and then fast forward, we realized that an institution was going to be set up to finally deal with this issue of corruption. I personally was very excited. I never even knew that I would be a part of it at some point in time. But I think even the commissioner said it today. A lot has been done. My reflections have been, it's been a wonderful place to work. It's been a privilege. I mean, to be able to be at the aim of things to ensure that we fight to deal with the issue of corruption in Sierra Leone. But the issues are many. And sadly, many of the issues that I knew then, many of them still persist. I remember, and I will also agree with the commissioner that I was one of those proponents who believe strongly in dealing with the issue of, example, systems review, ensuring that I believe in that, making sure that we deal with the issues. So I recall, and I'll give you a scenario here. I recall we are doing a review for Ministry of Health. And I was privileged to have chaired that meeting when the report came out. And all the big guys in the ministry were all directors. All of them were there. And the report was not good. It was a very bad report. It painted a very bad picture of the health situation in Sierra Leone. And this could have been something like 12, 14 years ago. And I have left the commission 12 years ago. And now as a private citizen, I'm still accessing the health sector, accessing other places. And I realized that every time I visited the Connaught Hospital and other places, the things I saw in that report, they are still there. So, I mean, some of them have been dealt with, but largely we are still fighting with the issues. So I realized that the commission has a lot of work to do. And but 25 years on, it is good that we have come back to be able to recalibrate and reassess and look at where we did well and where we did not do so well. And definitely, I like the word the future. We have seen the past and we are now in the present. Great privilege to ensure that we are able to tackle and set systems in place so that fighting corruption in the future will be more profitable and more rewarding. These are my initial views.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you. We so much appreciate your contributions. Yes. So now we're going to have 2 minutes each for the last questions for each and every one of you. Then I'm going to ask the audience. It's not you asking them. I'm going to ask you on certain questions. I have 2 key questions here. One would be, if we are to invest in Anti-Corruption Commission strategies, what are the best areas for us to invest as a country? So keep that in mind, reflect on that, because you are going to tell us, because this should be a dialogue and we need to discuss on this. And the other question is, we have got many people, we don't see areas. Some time ago when I was in Makeni, in fact, when we started this issue of the Bumbuna, when they were transporting the limes from the Bumbuna town to travel to Freetown. You know, I remember a councillor stole some of those wires that were there. Until today, we are experiencing people stealing from transformers meant to give electricity in the communities. People then they cut pipe for thief people in water. You know, they destroy things. So you, the audience, you are going to tell me, what do we do with people like this? And remember, whatever we say is going to be a policy statement that we have to work with the Anti-Corruption Commission in our strategies. Because now it is the people who will tell us, how do you want us to handle people like that when they get caught? Because when somebody go caught transformer, it disturb thousands of households then. And when it disturbs then thousands of households, and they spoil livelihood opportunities for people. People suffer because some people depend on selling ice water. Some people depend on selling mineral water, soft drinks, and this. So you are going to tell me, reflect on these two main questions while I come back to the panel to discuss our last questions. And the first question goes to Honorable Ivy Benkabu. What does it take? What does accountability take? Or what does it look like in practice, not just in policy documents when it comes to fighting anti-corruption?
Accountability is a very important component in state administration. If you cannot be accountable to the people who give you power and to the institutions for which you work, or the states, then of course we have a serious problem there. Even in the colonial days, the British colonials saw accountability as a very important aspect of their administration. And that's why the government auditor was very, very powerful. For those who are old enough will know that when they tell you that the government auditor has arrived today, some people were almost jittery at the sound of and the information that the government auditor had arrived. That is all the accountability component of the states. People should learn to be accountable. We always said, I gave the example of the Musa Agricultural Station. There was one man there who stayed there for another 10 years. He was not audited. Nobody asked him any questions. Money was being sent by the government. That was in the 50s. And then one day, to his surprise, an auditor arrived from Freetown. Right? Instead of him confronting the auditor to explain why he had delayed sending returns to Freetown, he went to his toilet, took carbolic, drank it, and died. In other words, there's a clear indication that people must always learn to be accountable. It's also a clear indication that in those days, people were very concerned about their reputation. I'm sure this man was worried about what would happen to him and to his family. But this is also important. But those of us who talk about accountability, let us also ask ourselves the question, is it enough for us to just talk about accountability without seeing it in practice? I see there is a whole lot of talk in this community about people being arrested, charged to court, etc., etc. But what I would always want the Anti-Corruption Commission to do, they themselves to prove that they are accountable, is to give information to the public about what was collected from these people who were found culpable. And this information should always be very, very consistent. Because you go to a place like McKinney, you talk about the Anti-Corruption Commission. Oh, I saw them. They collected a lot of money. They have charged some people to court. They have arrested some people, but who know you? So an indication that a little bit should also be done to explain to the public that people are actually being pursued to be accountable. So like I said, Madam Chair, accountability is a very important component of in state administration. If it does not exist, then the state will definitely collapse. I would find a way to further explain that in the end, there are new
developments in the fight against corruption. The big money people, how do we know how they got this money? Now, suddenly we have discovered that we are hit by drugs all over the place. And who are the people behind these drugs? And who is disseminating these drugs? Are we going to ask the Anti-Corruption Commission to help us come up with concepts, with ideas, how to begin to address this issue? How suddenly somebody who had no money at all is now flying all over the country, a fleet of vehicles, building 10 vehicles, etc., etc. Perhaps you'll say it is his business. Nobody should ask him how he came by his money. But the fact of the matter is that drugs are a very important threat to our society. And big money can undertake, can undermine a very dedicated government. When people have money, which the government does not have, the government itself will be in serious trouble. So this is why we believe that even though we talk about government officials, there are also other participants in society whose activities must also be monitored. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Let's give him a big round of applause. And thank you very much. We have to be accountable. Indeed, if we are not accountable, then it would be a problem. And when the problem escalates, then it becomes chaotic. We will not want such a nature or context in our beloved country anymore. However, I think the need for awareness raising came up from your discussions. And I believe the commissioner and his team that are present here are taking notes of some of the recommendations that we're going to have here today. We'll also, at the end of the day, we'll wish for your team to announce the hotlines that you have and the referral pathway for the reporting corrupt practices in this country. However, let me go to the next question, which is looking at how do we ensure anti-corruption efforts are gender responsive and inclusive, Madam Dabo? Yeah, I did not ask you because only you're a woman. I'm asking because the aspects of equality should be also dealt with when it comes to fighting corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I totally agree with you because crime has no gender, male, female, could be culpable. Thank you very much. With what you have just raised, I want to buy in on Honorable Kagbo and Commissioner's presentation with regards to pressure. I mean, in a country where you have a population of about, let's say, 8 million, you have very few percentage of that in public sector. The rest of us are the fuelers of corruption. And gender, male, female, they should be part of this fight and inclusively too. By what I mean, for instance, he was talking about like his wife will say you are useless, but there are other pressure groups out there. Immediately you are made a minister or you are head, you are given a public office, the expectations are so high from both sexes. The sisters, the brothers, regardless, they expect you to bring the moon to them because you are Minister of Finance, because you are Commissioner. So the gender aspect should not be taken in isolation, but it should be everybody on board. You're talking about in the non-formal sector. I think we should go beyond targeting just the public sector. The non-formal sector, like I said, are the pillars of corruption because they provide the atmosphere, like in procurement. Government spends about 75% or whatever it has on procurement. If it's not properly done, gender has no role to play. In a sense, we are all going to suffer. So I believe we should go beyond targeting a small group, but we should broaden our targets. And this brings on board awareness raising, awareness raising, awareness raising. because that will help in disabusing the minds of people. And at the end of the day, we are all victims, not only the government. Who is the government? We are the government. So we will all be victims. So I want to say here that we should target everybody. I'm gender sensitive, I'm gender affirmative, but I think we should target everybody. I mean, for instance, in Nigeria recently, I read the most corruptee was a woman, the oil lady. So there should be no exception. I think the fight should go on regardless of your sex or where you belong, citizens as well. Thank
you. Thank you very much, Madam Dabo. And then this brings to mind that the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs has developed what we call an accountability framework. Accountability framework is there to help ministries, departments, and agencies to implement the Dewey Act fully. And even in as much as we're talking about inclusion here and promoting equality, I want to bring to your attention that women should also be at the top management of the commission, because this is not at least the minimum 30% quota is what we're looking for at the moment, where we want women to be at the top hierarchy as well. So, Mr. Commissioner, I'm bringing this to your attention. And the other thing that came up also is because with public officials like ministers or our government people that are found wanting or are also charged or maybe sometimes are under investigation, there are structures and systems in place already. This is why I'm asking the question for those that are doing that are stealing like from transformer, this property. How do we deal with these ones? We need to guide the Anti-Corruption Commission so that take proper accountable measures and transparent measures against each and every individual. When the commissioner spoke this morning that when somebody is found culpable, people will come running to beg for that particular individual. Those things should stop. And we should have one size fits all. What about that poor man? We not get post where they can beg for him. He do crime, something of lesser crime. Then he go rot in a jail. So let we left for beg for people then where they commit crime against the state. Let we hold them accountable. Thank you. And now the last but not the least. How do we move from reactive enforcement to proactive prevention? This is the question that I have for you, Reverend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Whilst I'm listening, from the commissioner and all of the issues raised and all the indices doing well, we are doing well in fighting grand corruption and tackling the big guys. We still have issues with petty corruption. We still have issues with police, stewards, wardens. We still have issues with, things here and there. So I think, and one of the measures that I believe that we have to work on, we have to really zero in, and I'm happy that the Minister of Information and Civic Education is here. People, and let me say this, let me calm down a little bit. I think people really need to understand this question of capacity development. For us, I think the capacity development has only got to do with producing more degrees. Last week we saw Jala University. People need to understand. People need to know how to be educated, how to therefore receive civil education. When I was in the primary school, I remember one of the subjects that we did, Nabi Civics. It was in that subject that I understood that, by then we never had what we call the national pledge. We only had the national anthem. So I believe that people need to be more educated. People need to be more civilly educated. We really need to go down, like the chair they say, to be more proactive from the schools, the integrity clubs, nationally, everywhere. People need to understand that when corruption don't pass mark, the people who are the victim, not us. And they need to know that now the people, the general say, now we are the victims. We are the victims of corruption. And I think, so that is why we need to go down and be more and educate more. Let's have more civil education, more capacity development. Let more people be aware. And also, the other thing we should encourage people, we should also encourage people to know that each and every one of us should be an agent of change. That means any Saturday, we should be able to ensure that the commissioner is not there. The commission is only leading the fight. They cannot fight this fight alone. I mean, that's not the truth of the matter. The commissioner with intent and purposes, and the commission with a good strategy, they can only lead the fight. And I think so far they are doing very well, but they can't do it alone. The citizens have to be involved. If you see a steward, they do bad, hotlines there, the chair, we should raise a voice. We should speak up. This culture of silence and Sierra Leone has really not helped us. And sometimes they can appear like people now, they go ace the dirty pieces. But I think we need to change attitudes in that. And people need to know that if they do that, they will not become the victim. Nobody will victimize them. You know, because once somebody know that when I become the whistleblower, next day, my entire family, be picking them any side and go, they are not safe, then it's an issue. So I think in terms of proactiveness, we need to involve everybody. Everybody needs to come on board. We've been saying this all along, but some people, only sizable people are still involved in the fight against corruption. Many Sierra Leoneans are even not interested, even though they know that they are the big. So I think more needs to be done. More needs to be said about that. That's my personal view.
Thank you. Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. I think so. We don't get a very fruitful discussion, Ayaso, this morning towards this afternoon. But now, just like I said, of course, there is a lot to take home with us. The aspect of accountability is very key. The aspect of taking responsibility, taking the lead is very key. And the aspect of how to also invest is what I'm going to ask now. How? If we are to invest on strategies that help boost the Anti-Corruption Commission as an institution to help states in terms of development, which areas? I just need 3 people in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Okay. Okay, so make I ask the 2 questions. So now go reflect, because I just want 3 people for 1 question. And then the other question also 3 people. So go come. So people get other things then for good, yeah. So can somebody help me? Thank you. You can tell us your name and which question you're answering. 1, if we are to invest in the Anti-Corruption Commission strategies in order for us to improve the implementation of those strategies, which area invest in, or what focus should we have?
Thank you very much, everyone. And I want to appreciate the Anti-Corruption Commission for inviting us to this forum. I'm Banka Poma, the president of the Sierra Leone Teachers Union. My take, whilst we appreciate all that is being done, if we want to actually solve the problem of corruption, we must try to remove the jungle from the state. What do I mean? We have instigators of corruption. 1, poverty. 2, low salaries and poor conditions of service. 3, insecurity. 4, greed and ignorance. These are the ones I just highlighted. But for the public service, largely in Sierra Leone, low salaries and poor conditions are instigators of corruption. And that brings the jungle to the state. Because if I am receiving, for example, 2,000, 2,500, that will not make a living as a result of the anxiety to continue to exist or to live. You know, one would, if not constrained by some other factors, will have the tendency to indulge, just exist. Want of time, I want to stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes. Can I have the lady with the hijab?
Good afternoon. My name is Fudia Kamara. It is an honor to be part of this program. Of course, to me, and fighting corruption is very, very important. One of this, I have 3 strategies with me here. Number 1 is for the anti-corruption to try to address or eliminate key areas that shows the level of corruption in our country, especially in the area of traffic police, government offices, and in the hospitals, under the umbrella of saying, una make ajo. If you try to tackle that area, you have been doing well, but we can't see the corruption because those areas are the first place that people see, showing that this is a corrupt nation. So you need to look at that. The other thing is for us to build on our families, because if we raise intelligent pupils, they are going to serve us better in the future. So we need to engage our families, schools, teach them the level of responsibility that the children need to give in the future. The other is for a several advocacy and sensitization program, because corruption, it is a personal issue. If I find myself that if I say I am an intelligent or have integrity in whatever area I am being put, I will try as much as possible to show that I am a person with integrity. So we need to engage the society, people around them, about how to show accountability, responsibility in your various place at work, so that we can have people that can be able to speak up even without the commission is around. So these are my strategies that I want to communicate with the Anti-Corruption Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But just one point of correction. The bribery does not only lies in the hands of the police. There is bribery cut across everywhere in the facets of society. Everywhere. Now the classroom them, any side usa we they go everywhere. We need to stop this. Even in our markets, the one the way they sell palm oil, where they take color, you they put and they sell pepper, you take cola, you green, and you put them. All that in a part of corrupt practices. Now they want to call petty corruption. Then all they want they unbox somebody else, they unbox they thief that poor money. So we go for look into that. Also, you wanted which? Okay, you have the mic already. Which of the questions do you want to respond to? Okay, let's go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ambassador Mohamed Lami Sharif, Executive Director, Advocacy for the Voiceless Sierra Leonean, a civil society and human rights activist. And also, I am the Secretary General for the National Union of Civil Society in this country. First of all, I want to say thanks to the Commissioner and thanks to the staff of the ACC for handling the fight of corruption in this country. But my recommendation to the Commissioner, we really want him to set up a strong institution like what? The civil society, strengthen certain civil society that will watch the MDAs. Because what I'm saying is here, we are looking at the commissioner right now, looking at the staff, they are just 1%, looking at the amount of people that's corrupt in this country, starting from the top body. Those are the people that instruct the little people to corrupt. So this fight is not easy. And another one is to empower the civil servants, like the police, the teachers, and other sectors, looking at the salary scale. The government need to address that particular one. In other countries, there is no problem in terms of salary. So there is no corrupt in that particular country. But when we look at Sierra Leone, the salary scale is very little. So how do you expect the person not to corrupt? So this is the thing. So we recommend this one to the government. Let the government empower the sectors, increase the salary, and the commissioner try to train certain institutions like the civil society to look at another MDAs, because those are the problem makers in this country. the MDs.
Your
In terms
points are
of
well noted.
that's good. In terms of budget, in terms of procurement, in terms of another service delivering in the country. Thank you very much.
And I believe the staff of the commission are taking notes. So now, this is the fourth one. Yes, at the back, and then you, Miss. Yeah. Yes, please. No. Oh, sorry. Again. Okay, so after him, we have you, and then the man with the next.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have listened across the board. Some of the presentations, I have contrary views to them. But what I'm saying here is that there are four things the commissioner mentioned in his presentation that kind of encourage corruption. One of them was monopoly, the means, and the opportunity. These are the issues. No, pressure is domestic. You cannot mention it here. It's domestic. And it means, you know, people who have authorities, they have the authority, they have access to funds. These are the people who are sometimes tempted to manipulate the usage of funds to their own benefit. Opportunity. Of course, right now we know ourselves. There are people here, you know them from the onset. They are not honest people. They don't have integrity. You know, when we were in college, there was this Father Joe used to tell us that human being, you are born with 360 integrity. But as you are growing up, you begin to do some ill things, then you begin to lose those integrity. There are people already know that they have no integrity and they are entered into public places. These are the people who are indulged sometimes in these corrupt practices. But somebody who is really having a very good integrity, believe me, no matter how much he's paid, he can still remain a very good person. Also, that's the kind of man who will see appointment as an opportunity. For somebody who has integrity, he will see an appointment as a service to the nation, right? He will not use it to enrich himself. Okay, the other one is the monopoly.
30 seconds.
Yeah, the monopoly is the laws of Sierra Leone give excessive authorities to some individual in certain public offices. So those who are working under him, they have no voice under there at all, under them. Whatever he wants to do, he does it at his own will. If you attempt to contest him, you are going to be found wanting. Maybe you are posted, you are transferred somewhere. So sometimes these are some of the problems.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Now I think no. After you, I've already got my 6 people. This man in front and then the man with the tie. If the commissioner say give them more time, I can.
Thank you very much.
So you don't tell the commissioner to look me by the eye for this time. So now I make another open them. I don't want to mangala say, Madam Minister, you have been reported here.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, because I have tried severally so that I want to, so that I can make my views. Now that the mic is with me. I am Abdul Razak, Chairman for Conference of Principals of Secondary School. I think I am happy. I must commend the Commission for putting this plethora of experiences, this reservoir, these people who know what the Commission is and who were in the inception of the Commission. I want to thank you for that. I think I am going to subscribe to where to put more emphasis where to. I think one of it is glaring here. That is, the Commissioner wanted to showcase in a way of accountability. That was why we are here today. I believe, in my own view, that was why we are here. So that we can be able to know what over the past years, what he has been able to do and what he has been able to perform. Mark you, misinformation is the watchdog in society. I want to give you a scenario before I come to my suggestion. My scenario here is, while I was going to school, I used to know one Honorable Kandebure. I think the Honorable will have to know that person, Kandebure. He used to stay at Calabato, and he was a former minister of the SLPP government, I think Albert or Medicine Maga. So we used to go to him and we asked, say, Pa, why are you seated here as a minister? Why are you not joining the APC government? He said, no, I have an integrity. The APC government, we know Pasheki is not a good man, so we'll not join him at all. So he sat there for quite a long time. And little did we know, he died without even joining and without having a lot of what he wanted. Now, coming to the commission, as I say, this is a clear indication. I think I want to subscribe to say awareness raising is one point. Awareness raising. As for us, I speak in the terms of the school. Now, before this time, there had been integrity clubs. Thank God I am now hearing that they are reviving them, these integrity clubs. These clubs, when they are put in the schools, I'm sure will go a long way to even educating the children. We used to have sessions, a Thursday session, wherein after lunch, no more teaching. Integrity clubs, people will come from the anti-corruption so that they will go and help these children. Even in the schools, from the school, it's gravitated to the college and it goes from there. So I want to suggest that awareness raising, not only out in the public areas, but just let them have them even in the rural areas and in the marketplaces, so that continuously, so that you will not have a reason wherein, as I listen, they say this, the motive of setting this anti-corruption is for a transitional period. But why? It's still there. It is because these things are still happening. So we needed, let us assume that you stole 100,000, Mr. Blake. Please wait. The mic is giving some signs of corruption. Even the mic. Yes, doctor, please. It's final. I'm coming to a final. So as I say, we don't need to stop it here. We need to have a robust awareness, not only in big cities, in the big towns, but let us go there. And especially, I would advise that you continue, Mr. Commissioner, for the intensive clubs for my schools, so that we can have them there, please.
Let him, after him, then
All right, okay. Thank you so much. I'm Mohammed Kalong from Restless Development. So one of the good things I want to recommend is the area of double punishment. Even though you are refunding the money that you stole, but also again go to prison. So if we introduce double punishment for people that are being indicted, then I think we'll be able to manage that situation. You pay and you go back to prison. That's one key thing. And the other thing people are saying, salary. For me, even we are paying 10 billion people will still corrupt if we want to corrupt. So salary criteria for people. So for me, it's about integrity, it's about intention, it's about how you are content with what you have. So for me, that's not an excuse. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you. Give the man at the back. So speak quickly.
Yes.
I'd rather take that young girl there. So we have intergenerational discourse. Stand up. You're going to speak next.
Yes, good afternoon.
And you'll be the last speaker.
My name is Sir. I'm working for the FIA, Financial Intelligence Agency. My concern is a little bit different from what the general body has spoken on. I think my own has to do with a policy perspective, touching and concern on the laws of the ACC. I think there is a principle wherein the employer or the employee is always loyal to the employer. So my concern is that when it comes to the appointment of the commissioner, I want that to be independent. The power clotted by the president to appoint the commissioner, I'm suggesting that if the law is going to be reviewed, let's have an independent committee that is charged with the responsibility to appoint the commissioner and the deputy commissioner. We all know for sure, it is very interesting that the commissioner is appointed by the president, other ministers and head of parastatals are appointed by the president. Imagine a situation where the commissioner is charged with that responsibility of function to chase a friend or to chase another appointee of with the president as appointed. That will be a little bit of conflict of interest. If the commissioner tries to prosecute, he will be relieved from his duty. And also the security of tenure of services of the commissioner, that also must be guaranteed by law. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we now have the last speaker, who is the young lady. Let's hear from the young people.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Honorable James Tina from the Kids Parliament, Sierra Leone. First of all, I want to thank our Honorable Commissioner here for the good work he has been doing for our nation. So, to emphasize of what I'm here to talk about, first of all, we shouldn't blame the government for salaries, because I'm sure that before someone having a job, they're going to show you the salary they're going to pay you. And that is not like a reason for corruption. And I don't Thank you. And that is not a reason for corruption, and it's not a better excuse. And also to the police. So people are saying we are blaming the police for doing bribery, bribery, bribery. But sometimes we shouldn't put all the blame on the police because if like a citizen like do something, they will be like begging the police, I'll give you this, I'll give you this. It's not like the police that is asking them to do something. So I think we should look on that actually because that is not like a better excuse.
Thank you very much, my dear Member of Parliament. Thank you. Yeah, and let's give her a very big hand. Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity. Oh, switch this up. I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you that stayed here with us to have this meaningful discussion. To our panelists, we are grateful for having you here. We must say your insights will be able to walk us along in the path for integrity, innovation, and also how we're going to move forward for development. I think in the aspects of innovation, if I should give my take, Mr. Commissioner, I think that we should invest as a country on digital transformation because now the world is going digital. I went to a country recently, which is Iceland. Since I arrived in Iceland, I did not know what their currency looked like. Everything was being done with card. I don't know how the currency turn like. First one time I Google at Siam. But all thing now by card you they do payment. Now by card you they do transfer. They don't even accept dollars in those country in that particular country. So for me, I think also working with NRA and other like the customs, I think going into the single window payment of innovation revenue collection is also going to help us. So I think, Honorable Commissioner, you have to work closely with those institutions where we believe our states get their resources from, where we believe a lot of bribery or corruption happens at the detriment of the state coffers. So for me, I think this is my own part. I'm sorry for those of you that wanted to speak and did not get the chance to speak. Here are our hotlines. The anti-corruption is the 8515, which you can call on toll free. And then you have the 077 985 985 and then 077 986 986. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for joining me here. Adios. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the minister. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. To our panelists, thank you and thank you all. At this stage, I want to invite Mrs. Edita Fofana for our vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Standing on existing protocols, I want to, on behalf of the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, staff and management of the Anti-Corruption Commission, thank you all for celebrating our Silver Jubilee with us. Hitting this milestone is indeed remarkable, taking into consideration the collective effort of government, donors, international community, citizens, past commissioners, deputies, and staff, of course, of the present staff and present management of the Commission. For 25 good years, we have held on hard with the limited resources at our disposal. I will say we deserve a tap on our backs. We don't try, not to so. So let us give ourselves a round of applause. Thanks to our chairman, moderator, panelists, and all other participants for taking the program through. Thanks to all former commissioners, deputy commissioners, former directors, and deputy directors. Thanks to students representing our integrity clubs. You are an integral part of our story. Thanks to our partners, especially Restitution Impact UK, the Swedish government, including the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, and Diaconia. Thanks to the IACD committee for planning
and executing this project. Thanks to all staff members for your continued cooperation and dedication. Our 25th year is indeed worth celebrating. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2026.
We advise that you stay whilst you get the refreshment. And for our guests, we have souvenirs which you take home. Souvenirs like calendars, cups, and pens in commemoration of IAC Day and the 25th anniversary. You use that for promotional purposes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
As government and stakeholder them, they continue to implement the Productive Social Safety Net and Youth Employment Program, PSSNYE, where World Bank be don give Salon government $42 million for National Commission for Social Action, NACSA. They use parts of this